Did you know that one of the most powerful monarchs mentioned in the New Testament wasn't Roman, wasn't Jewish, certainly wasn't European, but was a ruling African queen? Acts chapter 8 calls her Candace, but history calls her Kandake. Let's get into it. When we read Acts chapter 8, we're introduced to Candace, queen of the Ethiopians. But here's something important. Candace isn't a personal name, it's a title. The Greek word used in Acts chapter 8, verse 27 is Kandake. And according to leading Nubian scholars like Laszlo Torak and entries in the UCLA Encyclopedia of Egyptology, Kandake was the royal title given to powerful queen mothers or ruling queens of the kingdom of Kush, centered in Meroe in what is now today the Sudan, not modern day Ethiopia. The kingdom of Kush was not a small tribal society. It was a literate, wealthy, military organized African empire that ruled the Nile south of Egypt for centuries. And during the Meroitic period from about 300 BC to 350 AD, Kandake queens were not symbolic figures either. They commanded armies, built pyramids, issued inscriptions, and even negotiated with the Roman Empire. For example, the Roman historian Strabo describes a one-eyed Nubian queen who fought Emperor Augustus around 25 BC. Most scholars identify her as Kandake Amanirenas. Pliny the Elder also notes that Candace was the dynastic title of Ethiopian queens. Even Roman historian Cassius Dio confirms Roman military encounters with a powerful Nubian queen. This means that when Luke writes in Acts of the Apostles that the Ethiopian eunuch was a court official in charge of all of her treasury, he is describing a high-ranking government official serving under one of the most powerful female monarchs in the ancient world. Now let's slow down for a second. Acts chapter 8 verse 27 says he was a servant of Candace, queen of the Ethiopians. But in the first century, Ethiopia in Greco-Roman geography referred to Kush, south of Egypt. Dr. Craig Keener, in his commentary on Acts, notes that this official likely served as a ruling Kandake during the early 1st century AD. That places the gospel directly inside the administrative structure of an African empire. And here's the connection. The eunuch had traveled to Jerusalem to worship, and he was reading Isaiah chapter 53 when Philip explained that the suffering servant was Jesus. He believed and was baptized. So according to early Christian tradition, especially preserved in Ethiopian Christianity, this man becomes a key instrument in carrying the gospel back into Africa. Now think about what that means. Before Christianity ever became the religion of the Roman Empire, before Constantine, before European colonialism, the gospel had already entered the royal court of a black African kingdom. Acts chapter 8 is not a side note. It is the fulfillment of Jesus' words in chapter 1, verse 8, that the gospel would go to the ends of the earth. In first century Jewish imagination, Ethiopia represented the far south of the distant world, and God intentionally reaches into the treasury office of a Kandake. So when someone suggests that